Is it just me, or do you also take a step further when you're going up the stairs? I think this habit also translates to my audio journey. I started with the Moondrop Chew to the Zero Red. There is a pretty huge leap in my dictionary, from a $20 IEM to a $55 one. After that, I tried Blessing Tree, which I did not review at first, then fast forward to my visit to BTM, and I tried the 64 audio voller, and many other IEMs above the $100. Then, getting my hands on and reviewing the Moondrop variations, Blessing Tree, High Senior Mega 5 VST, ISN Neo 3, and the latest Kinera Freya 2.0. Maybe I should have taken one step at a time to be safe. That missing step I should have taken from a $20 to a $55 IEM is the EPZ Q1 Pro, which technically did not exist at the time, but it is here now. This unit is here courtesy of EPZ Audio, especially Liu Da Ke, who offered me to review the Q1 Pro from EPZ. Shesheni Liu Da Ke. The EPZ Q1 Pro comes with a pretty good packaging. The box has a picture of the Q1 Pro's construction with specification on the back. The box is magnetically closed with a lot of foam inside. The Q1 Pro costs around $40. Unboxing experience wise, I think it is slightly better than the 030 Red, and definitely a lot better than the Moondrop Chew. The Q1 Pro came with 6 pairs of ear tips, a cable, and a case. Accessories wise, the Q1 Pro is a little bit lacking compared to the Zero Red. The included case is grey and looks to be made out of velvet or suede kind of material. I think it might be rather easy to get them dirty. They do not protect the Q1 Pro in terms of drop resistance, but to be fair, neither does the Zero Reds or the Moondrop Chew. At least they are not as tight as the Moondrop Chew, where that one is so small that closing the case can be a little nightmarish. The Q1 Pro is a Dynamic Driver IEM from the brand EPZ, costing around $30 to $40 depending on which version you choose. The Q1 Pro has a 3D printed resin case. Not sure what kind of resin, but as per time of writing, it doesn't seem to develop any scratches. The Q1 Pro comes in 2 versions. The one I have here is the one with microphone, as I feel like having a more functionality besides just listening to music is a good idea, especially if you are like me and you use your IEMs for basically anything. But for this one, I think you should probably skip the microphone version, as for the looks of the non-mic ones, the cable on that one seems to be a lot better. I will talk about the microphone on a separate section. Instead of dwelling on the cable, let's talk about the most important part of the review. The Q1 Pro's sound signature is bright and mid-forward, giving a more forward-sounding electric guitars and vocals. Compared to the Zero Red, the Q1 Pro sounds a little more cleaner, and at the same time, it sounds louder. This review is made with the TU99 as my main dongle deck I use on either my phone or PC. Starting off with the treble performance, let's just say it sounds great. My usual Zero Red always feels a little lacking in brightness, and the Q1 Pro delivers. Mind you, it is not all perfect, but it is more than welcome. The electric guitars, the acoustic guitars, and many other instruments occupying the upper half frequencies feels a tad bit forward compared to my usual Zero Red. A more pronounced electric guitar for your rock and metals are always welcome. Although, as I've said, it is not all perfect. Something like your acoustic guitars or cymbal does sound a little bit thin, but I personally think it is not an issue, as it is barely noticeable. And for the price, it is hard to argue. As for the mids, the Q1 Pro comes off as mid-forward, emphasizing on vocals, pianos, and some other instruments in those frequencies. The vocals are nice, and while it is not as warm as the Zero Red, it is also sound correct to my ears. The vocals can also get a little much on the case of female vocals. It can get a little spicy at times. Aside from that, I am enjoying Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force with the Q1 Pro. I think the forward electric guitar presentation elevate the experience, although it is slightly missing something. That something is probably the slightly lack of punch and rumble from the bass response of the Q1 Pro. For me at least, it is not an issue, as I feel the bass is still adequate for most of my listening sessions, gaming session, and editing sessions. After all, quality over quantity, and the Q1 Pro delivers a good bass response without muddying up the lower mids. I've been listening to this recording a lot for the past reviews, and I more or less got the idea of how the recording could perform. The Q1 Pro offers a slightly expensive sound staging with okay imaging, not as wide and as accurate as the Neo 3, the Mega 5P Ultra, or many other recent reviews. However, compared to the Freya 2.0, the Q1 Pro offers a wider soundstage and a slightly better treble response. If I could describe the experience with the Q1 Pro, the vocals are forward, perhaps as forward as the electric guitars. You can pinpoint where each instrument is, but it is not as clear as on a more expensive or hybrid sets. Perhaps the upper treble can be a little lacking in Gimme Chocolate, as the decay is slightly too fast, giving it a thinner feeling. The bass response is okay, definitely adequate as I mentioned in the previous section. Maybe could use a little more, but that is most likely a nitpick. Electric guitar and vocal enjoyer rejoice with the Q1 Pro, as it works really well, highlighting the mids and the treble. It can get a little sibilant, but it is not as much. I noticed this on Doki Doki Morning and GJ. That is it. That is basically my experience listening to 10 Baby Metal Budokan live with the Q1 Pro. Since I personally use my IEM for basically anything, I thought adding a little more use case would be nice. So, I went with the microphone version. Unless you actually need the microphone, I think it is better to choose the non-microphone version, as it looks to have a better looking cable. This section is recorded with the microphone of the Q1 Pro. The Moondrop shoe has been irrelevant for a while now, and unfortunately, I do not have any substitute to them. However, comparing the two seems to be good enough in my opinion. The Q1 Pro wins in the vocal department, as it is a bit more forward than the Moondrop shoe. The bass performance of the Moondrop shoe is somewhat similar to the Q1 Pro. However, it also might be slightly less. I think other than that, the upgrade of the Q1 Pro from the shoe is a slightly improvement on the imaging and instrument separations. The Q1 Pro is a budget offering from the brand EPZ. Fun fact, this is my first time listening and trying a set from EPZ. Thank you, Liu Da Ke, from EPZ for reaching out and giving me an opportunity to review this awesome budget set. The Q1 Pro is a single Dynamic Driver IEM. The tuning is vocal forward with good bass response, costing around $30 to $40 depending on which configuration you go for. Although, personally, I would go for the non-microphone version, as it has better looking cable. The Q1 Pro offers a really good value for the asking price. Have a vocal forward tuning, a delight for those who love vocals, and for those who would love a little quality and less bass from the Zero Red. The Q1 Pro gets an A- for tonality and a B for technicalities. That is it. That is my review of the EPZ Q1 Pro. I would thank EPZ for sending the unit in for review. Thank you all for watching, trust your own ears, and have a great day.